What you need to know about September's Social Security payment changes. If you're counting on Social Security for your monthly income, the changes arriving in September could be a game changer. The U.S. Social Security Administration SSA has confirmed some significant adjustments that could directly affect your payments. And if you're on SSI, VA, or SSDI benefits, these changes are especially important for you to understand. So what's really going on this September? Are you getting extra money in your deposit, or are there other adjustments you need to prepare for? Let's dive into the real details behind the September Social Security payment schedule. With inflation continuing to rise, many Social Security recipients have been waiting to see how the SSA would respond. The truth is, the adjustments might not be as simple as they first seem. While the SSA has confirmed an increase, understanding exactly how much more you'll receive can get a little tricky, depending on which benefit you're getting. Whether you're a retired senior on Social Security, a disabled veteran, or receiving SSI, the key question is, how will this affect your specific payment? One of the most talked about changes this year is the expected cost of living adjustment COLA. For many, this increase is a lifeline, as rising living costs continue to affect everything from groceries to medical expenses. But here's the thing, while you'll see a bump in your payments, it's crucial to understand exactly how much of a difference it will make. For some, it's more than they expected, while for others, it's just a small cushion. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, and this video is designed to help you decode how these updates will impact your bank account. And it's not just the COLA that's changing. The SSA also confirmed updates to the payment schedule for September. If you're relying on these benefits, knowing when to expect your check or direct deposit is more important than ever. Whether you receive payments based on your birth date or another factor, these dates matter. Timing is everything, and in this video, we'll give you the most up-to-date info so you're fully prepared. Get ready for everything you need to know about the September payment changes, including when to expect your deposit, how much more you'll be getting, and other vital updates that will affect your Social Security, SSI, VA, or SSDI benefits this fall. Stay informed, stay prepared, and make sure you're not caught off guard. Let's break it all down, step by step. Now let's dive into the core of what's really happening with these Social Security updates. For seniors, veterans, and individuals with disabilities who rely on these monthly payments, September could bring some important changes to how and when you receive your money. But as always, there's a lot of confusion surrounding how these updates work, and you want to be fully prepared for the shifts coming your way. First off, let's talk about the cost of living adjustment COLA, which is the key change on the table for most recipients of Social Security, Supplemental Security Income SSI, and other benefit programs like SSDI Social Security Disability Insurance and VA Veterans Affairs benefits. If you're someone who has been living on a fixed income, you probably know how difficult it can be to make ends meet with the rising costs of food, healthcare, and housing. The COLA adjustment is meant to help offset those increased costs by boosting your payments. However, while it's good to get a bump in your monthly deposit, it's important to realize that this adjustment may not be as large as you expect or as large as you'd hoped. The Social Security Administration SSA has confirmed that for the 2023 to 2024 year, seniors and those receiving disability benefits will see a COLA increase of around 3%. While this sounds like a reasonable increase, you need to consider the impact of inflation. If inflation continues to outpace this increase, that 3% bump may not go as far as it once did. For example, when prices of essential goods like groceries, fuel, and utilities are rising faster than your income, even a 3% increase might feel like a drop in the bucket. So it's important to understand how the COLA works and how much more money you'll actually have in your pocket after this adjustment is made. Now, let's break it down a little more. What exactly does this 3% increase mean in terms of dollars and cents for you? If you're on Social Security benefits, the average increase will result in an additional $50 to $100 per month, depending on your current payment. This may seem like a modest increase, but for many seniors, that extra money can be the difference between having enough for groceries or paying a utility bill. For those on SSI Supplemental Security Income, the increase might be slightly less, but it can still provide some relief, especially for those who are living at or below the poverty level. However, there's more to the story when it comes to Social Security payments. The SSA has made adjustments to the way benefits are calculated, and they've also tweaked the eligibility thresholds. This means that if you're someone who recently started receiving benefits, or if your financial situation has changed over the past year, the COLA adjustment could be different for you. In other words, it's not a blanket increase across the board. There are several factors that determine how much you get, including your work history, how much you've contributed to Social Security, and the age at which you begin collecting your benefits. If you're under 65 and are receiving SSDI benefits due to a disability, you might be wondering how these COLA increases affect you. For individuals with disabilities, Social Security benefits can be a lifeline, especially if you're unable to work. Fortunately, SSDI recipients will also see the 3% increase, but keep in mind that other factors like your previous income or the cost of living in your area may impact how much you actually see in your monthly deposit. If you live in an area with particularly high costs, that 3% increase might not stretch as far as it would for someone living in a less expensive region. This is a crucial detail to understand when preparing for any financial changes in the months ahead. Now let's talk about Veterans Affairs VA benefits, which are a crucial part of financial security for veterans. If you're a veteran who is receiving a pension or disability compensation from the VA, you're likely already familiar with how these payments work. But you might be wondering how the COLA adjustment applies to your VA benefits. Fortunately, the VA follows the same COLA guidelines as Social Security, which means that you'll see a 3% increase in your monthly payments as well. For many veterans, this extra boost is a welcome relief, as healthcare costs and living expenses continue to rise. However, just like with Social Security and SSI, it's important to remember that the cost of living adjustment might not fully keep up with inflation, especially if you're in a high-cost area. With all of these adjustments coming into play in September, it's important to understand when you'll actually receive your payments. The Social Security Administration and other agencies follow a specific payment schedule, and if you're counting on your monthly deposit to cover expenses, knowing when to expect it is essential. Payments are typically sent based on your birth date. For example, if your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th of the month, you'll receive your payment on the 2nd Wednesday of each month. For birthdays between the 11th and 20th, payments are sent on the 3rd Wednesday, and for those born between the 21st and 31st, payments are made on the 4th Wednesday. For those receiving SSI, payments are typically issued on the 1st day of the month, but if the 1st falls on a weekend or holiday, payments are usually made on the previous business day. It's essential to pay attention to this payment schedule so you're not caught off guard when the deposit arrives. If you're on a VA pension or disability compensation, your payments usually follow the same structure as Social Security, but the exact dates can vary depending on your specific circumstances. This timing is particularly important if you rely on these payments to cover monthly bills. Many people use their Social Security or VA benefits to pay rent, buy groceries, and cover healthcare costs. If you're not aware of the schedule, you could be left scrambling to make ends meet until the next payment comes through. By understanding the exact dates when your payments are due, you can better plan and manage your finances. In addition to the COLA increase and payment schedule adjustments, it's also essential to understand how the changes to taxation could impact your Social Security or VA benefits. While Social Security benefits are generally not taxed if your total income is below a certain threshold, those who earn more may find that a portion of their benefits is subject to federal income tax. The same goes for VA disability compensation. While these payments are generally not taxable, other forms of veterans' compensation may be, depending on your income. Now, what about those of you who are thinking about delaying your Social Security benefits? It's always a good idea to explore all of your options when it comes to maximizing your benefits. The longer you wait to start collecting, the higher your monthly payment will be. While the COLA adjustment is certainly a positive thing, it's not the only factor to consider when planning for your retirement income. Delaying your benefits can result in a bigger monthly payout when you do start collecting, which may make a significant difference in your financial situation. So if you've been debating whether or not to start collecting Social Security or SSI payments, you'll want to weigh the pros and cons carefully. While it might be tempting to start receiving those monthly checks as soon as you're eligible, it's important to understand how delaying can impact your long-term financial security. As we approach September, it's crucial to stay informed about how these Social Security updates will affect your payments. Whether it's the COLA increase, the revised payment schedule, or potential tax changes, understanding the full picture will help you make better decisions when it comes to managing your finances. One final piece of advice. Make sure you're regularly checking your Social Security statements or any official documentation from the SSA or the VA. There could be additional changes or updates that you'll need to know about, and staying on top of these updates will help you avoid surprises when it comes time for your payment. The SSA has an online portal where you can check the status of your benefits, and there are also resources available for veterans to track their payments. So, as September rolls around, don't get caught off guard by these changes. Take action now by understanding how they'll impact your finances and make sure you're prepared. With a little bit of planning, you can ensure that these adjustments work to your advantage and help provide the financial security you need as a senior or veteran. Stay proactive, stay informed, and remember, you've worked hard for your benefits, and it's essential to make the most of them.